Hey everybody, this is Mike with the One Stop Co-op Shop, and today I'm going to show you the beginning of my entry into Legacy of the Ancestors, the second campaign for Earthborne Rangers, and disclaimer that I got a review copy of this one. And if you like the content on the One Stop Co-op Shop, consider supporting us through Patreon. You get early access to our videos and exclusive videos every month you can't see anywhere else. You can also listen to our weekly podcast for reviews and design discussions, or join the conversation and say hi on our Discord. So let me talk about spoilers for a second, because this is the new campaign for Earthborne Rangers, and it is a direct follow-up to the previous campaign. So first of all, I am using the character that I beat the entire campaign with. I did beat the entire thing. It took me about 16 days, which I've heard is fairly average. I did get a good ending for the campaign overall. Now, I did not obsessively go through the valley and talk to everybody and help everyone. I did a lot of side quests, but not all of them. So it's not like I've unlocked everything. But first of all, the big warning is, here, this is a starter card, there are going to be a lot of cards in my deck that are reward cards, both from the campaign and from side quests. You know, I'm not going to explain how I got them or anything, but just their very existence might be considered spoilers for some people. So just to warn you about that. And then also I'm going to be reading narrative passages from this Legacy of the Ancestors book, and we'll just see how far I can get in 1 or 2 days, however long it takes me to film for 90 minutes or so. And this is clearly going to probably, I imagine, make references to some of the major events at the end of the campaign. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take those sections off the air. So I'll read any narrative that does not directly reference the crazy stuff that happens in the main storyline in the main game, but I'll keep in the more descriptive stuff and the things that are more about the new adventure you're having here. So, still be warned of some minor spoilers, mainly in cards that are in my deck. But if you just want to see Earthborne Rangers in action and don't mind the chance of a little bit of spoilerage, this should be a fun video for you. So with that being said, let's jump in with the narrative introduction, and then we'll just start adventuring. You've come to the end of a long day's journey. Your legs ache, yet you feel invigorated. A light breeze rustles your cloak and cools the perspiration on your skin. You take a deep, full breath. Crisp mountain air fills your lungs, and you feel it all the way down to the soles of your feet. You exhale and taste the sweetness of the air on your tongue. On this day, you're returning home after a weeks-long patrol of the Northern Pass. The hour is late, and the shadow of Aatrox Mountain stretches out before you, reaching eastward across the valley's many forests, lakes, and streams. As evening deepens, the song of frogs and chirping insects rises from the grasslands. Your path has led you out of the mountains and down to the foothills of Aatrox Mountain, where tall trees now stand on all sides and the air is rich with the smell of pine and loamy earth. In the distance, you see a welcome sight. Visible for miles even in the failing light, Lone Tree Station stands out against the evening sky. The sight of your home fills you with relief. After weeks on patrol, you are eager to get a warm meal and a good night's rest. You hear the distant sound of laughter and merrymaking on the wind. The sun dips below the mountains, painting the clouds in a rich vermilion. The leaves of Lone Tree glitter in the evening light, and you smell rain on the air. Okay, and I have completed the first campaign, so otherwise it would kind of do a TLDR summary thing, and you would kind of make some choices to lock in some campaign results that, I already have from actually doing the campaign, but we're going to jump right to entry 1. You wake with the dawn. The unmistakable aroma of high Pimpot's pancakes rouses you from your slumber. Birdsong drifts through the open window, and you raise your head to see the first rays of sunlight peek over Mount Nim. As a ranger, you've grown accustomed to sleeping under the stars, but every once in a while, it's nice to sleep in a comfortable bed, sheltered from the elements. As you lie snug and warm, you recall a portion of the dream you had last night. You were in a dark cave, your surroundings barely illuminated. You remember the stillness of the air and the sound of a trickling stream. There was a being there with you, cloaked in shadow. As the light crawled slowly over its form, revealing it bit by bit, it turned its head toward you, a head like a many-petaled flower, grinning in a fashion that filled you with deep unease. Your memory of the dream fades as you climb out of bed and remember that you have an early meeting with Elder Thrush. You dress quickly and head straight to the kitchen for breakfast. You know from past experience that if you don't hurry, the pancakes will all be eaten and you'll have to settle for sunberry mash and cream. You pull on your tunic, step onto the balcony, and notice the darkened sky to the south. After several weeks of nearly perfect weather, heavily laden clouds have swept up from the Verdessa. Begins to rain. You weave your way through the covered stairways of Lone Tree Station, and as you reach Elder Thrush's ready room, your ears are filled with the rolling thrum of raindrops pelting the roof. Elder Thrush stands at the far end of a circular table that dominates the center of the room. Carved from the trunk of a giga redwood slain by lightning, the table bears faint scorch marks beneath a generous coat of lacquer. In the center of the table sits a marvelous piece of technology, a multi-hued map of kinetic glass, large enough to depict the entire valley. With a gesture from Elder Thrush, the surface of the valley lifts, revealing partially mapped passageways in the ground below. Spirit Speaker Nal and Ben Amon are there as well, speaking quietly to each other. As you enter, they sit at attention. Elder Thrust studies the shimmering map for a moment, then gestures for you to take a seat across from her. "Good morning," she says in a friendly, no-nonsense tone. "I trust you slept well last night. I know that you were looking forward to some extended free time after your long patrol, but the people of the valley are in need once again." You sit up a little straighter. "Do you know Silaro Mako?" You tell Elder Thrust that you are familiar with the valley's foremost archaeologist and enthusiast of Estian lore. "You may not have felt it since you were patrolling the northern pass, but while you were gone, there was a tremor near Spire. It was barely perceptible here at the station, and it did not last more than a few moments, but there are many who believe it was an event of great importance. Silaro Mako is one of them. He believes that something has shifted deep within the archaeology ruin, and he's eager to investigate. A few days ago, he approached the Council of Elders with a proposal. He wants to lead an expedition into the depths of the archaeology to discover the source of the tremor." "Elder," says Ben Amon, raising a finger, "if I may, Silaro's theory is well founded in historical fact. Long ago, when the valley was first settled by our ancestors, there was a tremor not unlike this one. Our ancestors already knew of the archaeology ruin beneath Spire, but after the tremor, Sal Orlin, Elder Orlin's father, discovered that a passage had opened near the surface." Ben Amon gestures towards the map, and the kinetic shards reform to show a detailed view of the archaeology threshold. A passage within leads to a spiral staircase set inside a deep chimney, a narrow vertical chasm plunging far below the surface. He went in not knowing what awaited him, and he returned with the carbon forge, the most valuable piece of technology we have today. I have no doubt that Silaro hopes to find that another doorway is opened somewhere in the ruin, and that beyond lies an equally important discovery. Skipping a bit about the last campaign. "Agreed," says Elder Thrush. "It's been 5 years since the last expedition. Perhaps Calypso spoke of it during your training. It was to be a simple excursion to Orlin's vault, but tragedy must have befallen them, for none from that expedition were seen again." She shakes her head. "I recommended against this new expedition at the council, but I found myself in the minority. I did agree, however, that it would be wise to send rangers. This is where you come in. You are to aid Silaro and the rest of the expedition in whatever way you can, and of course you are to see to it that everyone returns alive and unharmed." She gestures, and with the crystalline tinkling of thousands of shards of glass, the glittering map of the valley reforms, taking the shape of Spire. "The easiest method by which you may descend into the archaeology is by way of the archaeology threshold in the village of Spire. However," she gestures again, and the map of the valley returns, with certain areas marked by spinning golden flecks. "There are numerous sinkholes and other entrances to the archaeology scattered throughout the valley as well. The route you take is up to you. May the spirit of the valley guide and protect you," she says. With that, Elder Thrush calls an end to the meeting and sends you on your way. Alright, it tells me some more setup stuff. I'm going to be starting at Lone Tree Station, with woods being my main environment to start out. And I got to go to Spire or just get lucky and find a sinkhole. I guess I'm going to go to Spire. That makes more sense. So when you build the path deck, which will include all the things you're going to encounter on your travels in a given location, first of all, you have the location card. If it's a pivotal location, one of like the main settled areas in the game, you get some automatic cards. In this case, these are the 5 cards connected to Lone Tree Station. You get cards based on the environment you're in or that you came from, which is the woods in this case. And then if you're playing with one of the expansions, you also add 1 per player of these valley moments or underground moments. So I'm going to shuffle all that up. We've also got our challenge cards that are going to be used for resolving tests. We've got our weather, which they said was a downpour, so it's going to start with 4 rain tokens on it, and that'll potentially fatigue us as we go along. We've got the location, which has both on the back a little narrative description. We're going to skip that. And special rules, search the path deck for the next predator and discard it, so you're less likely to get attacked while you're here. I got rid of a prowling wolf hund, which is a somewhat annoying predator, so I'm happy to have that in there. And I'm going to draw 1 path card as the only ranger and the lead ranger in a second, but each location has its own special ability, and the threshold you need to travel away from it, which is 3 times the number of rangers. I've got my mission, the descent, which reminds me I'm trying to find the expedition and how I can get down there. And once I reach the chimney, I'm going to read a narrative entry to forward things along. And then my character. Again, this is from a completed campaign, so I've got some really good cards in my deck. But I am a shaper, which is like kind of the wizards of the game. So I have this Scepter of Harmony, which I need to spend these tokens from, in this case songs, to use my most powerful abilities. I start with 1 song automatically, but I can get a bunch more whenever a test doesn't have any of the like special abilities at the bottom of cards go off. This is a setup card, so it starts in play. I also got my role, the Adherent of the First Ideal. Loved this one for the campaign. I can, once per round, exhaust myself to scout a challenge card. So basically find out what's on the top of this challenge deck, and it just makes it very easy for me to apply my effort successfully. And these are my stats: 2 fitness, 3 spirit. If you didn't see my review, these are, I think, by far the most important stats to go for if you're playing true solo, especially fitness you really need so you can travel. So me having 2 instead of 3 makes me a little bit weaker. 1 focus, I think, is a good dump stat for true solo. And then 2 awareness. And I drew 6 cards and then did a mulligan. So I've got a little hawk for scouting. I'm mainly a forager for my specialization and a speaker for my class, but you are allowed to splash in one card from a different deck, and I picked Shepherd because I really like the scouting ability of the hawk. It also lets you attack things consistently. But yeah, so I've got some foraging cards in here. I've got some really nice cards that I unlocked. Yeah, so about half my initial draw are new cards I got, reward cards. But with that, we're ready to go. So we're going to resolve the first thing here and draw a card. Oh, so Spirit Speaker Nal is already in play. And we can read, here, I guess I'll read it real quick. 2 and 45, we can read to see what's going on with them in the new narrative book. All right, here we go. Lone Tree Station. Standing high above the western shore of White Sky Lake, Lone Tree Station towers over the surrounding highland plains. The wind rustles the leaves of its great bows, and the verdant garden boxes that hang from those branches sway in turn. Wide, well-trodden paths lead from the station in each of the cardinal directions, and you see several cloaked figures coming and going, fellow rangers busy with missions of their own. Okay, and then for the Spirit Speaker, you'll have these for people generally, and usually it's about whether you've completed their mission for the campaign, like their side quest or not. So here I'm just going straight to 45.2. You find Spirit Speaker Nal sitting in quiet contemplation within a small gazebo in one of Lone Tree's many gardens, her legs crossed and eyes closed. She doesn't stir as you approach, but when you call out to her in greeting, her eyes flutter open. "Oh, hello," she says with a wan smile. "Give me just a moment." She cocks her head to the side as if she's listening to someone. So clear Null with, that's like friendly progress. I forget what it's actually called, though, to ask her more about the presence she sensed in the arcology. So in addition to just trying to leave Lone Tree Station to get to the Spire and go down and actually do my main mission, I can try to get 3 nice tokens on her, which shouldn't be too hard to do. So we do have to actually start the round, though. So each ranger is going to draw a path card, which is going to be me. Then I'm going to be able to do as many actions as I want until I run out of effort and like stuff I want to do. Then I can travel if I've gotten enough progress on the location. And then I'll refresh, readying all my cards, drawing another card, getting my energy back, and then we go back to it. So let's see what my second card is. Oh, it's a Sitka buck. This is a prey animal. It's got 1 presence, which is kind of how much it messes with you when you try to like do stuff going past it. I could kill it or drive it away harmfully by getting 3 damage on it, or commune with it and connect with it until I have 5 progress, and that'll also clear it away. And if you haven't seen Earthborne Rangers before, there's kind of like 3 levels of card locations. So first there's like the big like overall area, the weather, the location you're at in your missions. Then there's kind of like this shared danger and opportunity area here. That's called the surroundings, by the way. Then this area here is called along the way. This row, this equally impacts all rangers, so it's kind of like around for everybody. And then you've got cards that are within reach, they call it, right here. And these are cards that are like just impacting my ranger. And I know that these cards went here because of the arrow down. If it had been up, then they would have gone into the along the way area. And then finally, we've got the player area, which is my role, my card tracking my effort and my stats, and then any like direct gear that I've equipped. Okay, so first let's go ahead and use my ability. I pretty much always use this at the start of my round to scout the top challenge card. And I can see a lot of stuff. So I can see that if I do a blue or red challenge, I'm going to get a 1 bonus. Whereas if I try to do a green challenge or a yellow challenge, I'm going to get a penalty or nothing. I can also see what effect is going to resolve. Yellow is going to make the rain fatigue me, which is kind of annoying, but it's not going to have like the Sitka buck do anything violent. So sure, I'll keep this on top. Whenever you scout, you can put the cards on the top or the bottom. But I like this one good enough. So for my first action, I want to get ready to travel, and we'll just hope that things work out with Spirit Speaker. So whenever you do a skill test, you first choose what test you're going to do. Tests can come from cards, so like I could do this special test with Spirit Speaker. Or you have these common tests you can always take. The big one here being traverse. This is usually how you're going to put progress on the location, so you can actually go somewhere. So I'm going to traverse the nearby terrain. The difficulty of the test is a 1, so if I don't get at least 1 total, I would suffer the failure, which usually is nothing, but here I actually get injured trying to like move past the Lone Tree Station. And I want to try to get 3 tokens on here. So first I can commit as much effort as I want. That was a red test for traversal. And I'm going to commit both of mine, so that's 2. I could then discard any cards. Oh my god, I have so many. That have the icon matching the approach. So here you see how it's like kind of a compass needle pointing north. So like my Talent's Persistence or my Ranger Bat or my Light as a Feather. All of these would just give me a ton of success for that. But here I already know the card on top is a +1 red, so I don't need any of that. Now because I'm traversing a card that is all the way here in the surroundings, I have to suffer fatigue, which is going to discard cards from the top of my deck. And once you go through your entire deck, you automatically stop the day. So that's kind of like your timer for getting things done in the game. But I have to suffer fatigue equal to the presence value of everything that's between me until I get to that location. Now, Spirit Speaker is friendly, so I don't have to worry about her. She's not hurting me with her too. But the Sitka Buck is, so I take the top card of my deck and I turn it sideways into like kind of its own special discard pile. And that is my fatigue pile. And sorry, if you've already seen Earthborne Rangers before, I'm going to explain the core concepts because we haven't had to play on the channel in quite a long time. So hopefully this isn't too redundant for those who already know the game well. But now I reveal the challenge card, which is, oh, look at that, +1. So I take the 2 effort I put in, I add +1, and this lets me put that much progress, which, hey, is the threshold I need, 3 per ranger, to be able to travel from Lone Tree Station. Then after I've resolved the test, I do the yellow sun effect. The diamonds here mean that I'm going to shuffle the deck after I do this. For every card, starting in the surroundings, going down to along the way, then into within reach. But here, the only one that applies is Downpour. Whenever a sun comes out, discard 1 rain from this card, so the rain's letting up a little bit, but each ranger suffers 1 fatigue, and then if there's no rain remaining, we'll flip it, and it'll be a gathering storm before the rain starts again. So I'd suffer 2 fatigue, but, whatever. All right, now, I can also just play cards, which I think I want to do. I love having my little buddy Riri the Sparrowhawk out, my pet. He's a companion. He is going to go into the within reach area, and from there he can once per turn exhaust to deal damage to a being in the same area, so he can like slowly peck the Sitka Buck until it runs away. But the main thing he has is he gives me access to this test where I can scout path cards, basically look at the path deck with like the negative things and positive things, and try to put the bad things on the bottom and the good things on top. But that costs 2 green, so you spend your effort to play cards, see the 2 awareness here, as well as to make your tests. Now, I could also play my Ranger badge, which is a nice little gear that I have. But here I kind of want to find out what Nal's side quest is. So, you also have the Always Ready test to connect with the life around you. So it's a yellow test, you can add hearts, and it'll add progress to a being equal to your efforts to the final result. She needs 3. I have 3. But I might get a -1. This green thumb card is really not going to be very useful in the current circumstances. It's a starter card that lets me get a flora from the deck, because a lot of my strongest powers require flora to put tokens on. But right now I don't have any of those powers, so I'm just going to discard this for +1. So I've got 3 effort, +1 heart, 4. And this time I'm actually flipping blind, and I'm fine. I didn't even need the heart. So I have put 4 effort in, which puts 4 progress on the Spirit Speaker. So we are going to immediately pause and resolve her clear effect for progress, not for damage. And then we'll go back and resolve the yellow stuff, and I'll get pelted by rain again. Do you remember how I spoke of this presence I felt during our meeting with Elder Thrush? The stirring unease of some undefinable presence within the arcology? I've been attempting to reach it to no avail. I think, however, that I may have a solution. Greenbriar Knoll. Were we to go there, I should be able to harness that power and, with the help of the spirits, use it to penetrate whatever barrier stands between me and this elusive presence. Do you have time to accompany me to Greenbriar Knoll? I would certainly appreciate the company. Shoot, you can count on me. So I can attach the Helping Hand mission to Spirit Speaker Knoll, and that basically will keep her in play. But Helping Hand missions are the most annoying because you have to complete them before the end of the day. Otherwise, you just have to go and find them again. Or, sorry, I could just soothe 2 fatigue, which does not put this fatigue I've taken back in my deck. It doesn't make my day last longer. It just lets me draw these 2 cards, which is nice because you have no max hand size. You can use them to make your tests easier and stuff. Well, let's go to the newfangled map. So this is a replacement map in this campaign because a whole bunch of it is going to be going underground into these arcologies. But the valley is a lot smaller. Let's see. Oh, man. Well, it's not that bad. Okay. So I was going to go from Lone Tree Station to Boulder Field to Kobo's Market, or I guess I could go to Ancestors Grove and then Kobo's Market, and then over to Spire to find the chimney. But I could alternatively go to Spire and then down to Greenbriar Knoll and then go back to Spire. It's only 1 step out of my way. Maybe we won't see the actual continuation of the main mission in this playthrough, but that's okay. It's definitely how Earthborne Rangers go, so sure, we are going to help her. So we're going to attach this Helping Hand mission to her, which just means that she gains the Persistent keyword, which is something my Sparrowhawk also has. Usually when you leave a location, everything goes away, all the animals and things, because you're not there anymore. But both Spirit Speaker and my Hawk are going to stay in play. Well, cool. So we have to resolve the yellow, which means I'm getting some rain on me again. Another token goes away from it, though, so I'm down to 3 fatigue out. And is there anything else I want to do with my 1 blue? No, I don't think so. So we're going to stop there. The buck didn't end up actually doing anything nasty to me, except for fatiguing me once when I traversed the station. I noticed that since Spirit Speaker Nal is in the same region, within reach, I didn't go past the buck to talk to her, so it didn't do anything negative to me. So whenever I want, I can choose to rest, which I'm doing now, and then we're going to travel, which is an optional thing you can do if the location is done, which it is. So yes, I'm going to get out of here and get on my way. And the buck gets discarded, but the Spirit Speaker stays around. And I get to pick whether to go to Boulder Field or Ancestors Grove. And it's really a question of whether I want to go through an old growth location or a woods location. I find the woods tend to be a little bit less nasty. There are like more obstacles and annoying things in the old growth. So let's go to Boulder Field. And also I like it because I've already got all the woods cards pulled out. Although I do have to grab the other cards keyed to Lone Tree Station and get rid of them. Now whenever you travel to a non-pivotal location like the Boulder Field, I'm using all the woods cards, but I'm going to add in 3 random valley cards, which are like people you can meet as you travel around. Now, interestingly, the expansion had me remove several of these, like characters that have changed, and I'm guessing I'm going to meet down in the arcology. So the deck is a little bit different. I also removed some things during the base game by doing quests, so this Valley deck does change somewhat as the game goes along. All right, so let's read what they have to say about Boulder Field. These are all locations I've been to a billion times, but I want to see if the new book has any new words about them. It looks like not really. Boulder Field. Long ago, a great mountain once stood here, but as the millennium passed, it steadily split and crumbled. At the edges of the Boulder Field, the ground is littered with round rocks the size of apples. As you head deeper in, however, the boulders grow larger until you find yourself weaving between what you imagine to be the bones of the lost mountain. Pillars of rock that reach toward the sky. I think that's identical to what was in the original game. I mean, no reason it shouldn't be. I don't think the boulders care about what happened in the valley, but yeah, just noting. All right, so this says the lead ranger draws 1 challenge card and does it based on the challenge icon. We got a yellow, which is, I think, the best one. Yes. Scout 2 path cards, then draw 1 path card. So we can make sure we don't get anything super nasty. So Scout 2. Oh, Traveler. Oh, this is a quest I never did. This is the mother of one of the other characters in the game. So let's see what she has to say now. And a Sunberry Bramble is a totally, well, not totally, but mostly innocuous little thing. So we'll actually keep that on top so we're less likely to get something nastier. But we'll go ahead and have Oravos come into play. So we have to read her little introduction before we get to actually continuing the turn. All right, let's see. I've not made the climber, stayed put. Nobody's in play. Okay, 81.3. You see Oravos walking along the trail, a walking stave in her hand and her eyes constantly scanning the horizon. She sees you about the same time and gives a friendly wave. Good to see you, she says cheerfully as you get closer. I have to admit, I'm a little adrift right now. You ask what she means and she laughs. Well, I'm not chasing my rapscallion of a daughter around the valley for starters. Yeah, because that's right. In the previous game, there was a quest to like help her find her daughter, and I never did it. So sorry. Yeah, maybe I'll try to clear her before I leave the boulders, since right now there's still like nothing really dangerous happening. So that was all traveling. We still have to do the refresh phase for the round I was in, and then get back to the start of the round, draw a path card. I'll draw that little plant, and we'll see what happens. And this time to travel, we need 4. But there's a nice thing because the boulders kind of block line of sight. You can sneak around, reduce the presence of all beings in play by 1. So like if some nasty monster comes out, they'll fatigue me less than they would. So refresh phase, I get all my stuff back. I unexhaust. And I draw a card, which is both a great thing because it gives you more stuff to do. Ooh, I got my weapon. But it also is a terrible thing because it's making you get more and more exhausted, just like fatiguing you does. So yeah, I've got this Gauze Blade, which is a weapon you can use to harm beings, like nasty little monsters that pop up. This little dot here shows how much space it takes basically in my inventory. I can hold up to 5 worth, and my scepter is 2. How many uses it has, and then it's test to hurt people. And then the rest of these are just like little special actions. Oh, that's right, the Ranger badge too. All right, so we're going to do a new round, and we got some Sunberry Bramble. It's got a 1 presence. It is a flora, which would let it interact with a lot of my special powers. And I can pluck a thorn-ringed fruit by doing a 2 green test to add 1 damage to it, so eventually it would go away, and soothe 2 fatigue. But if I fail, it would fatigue me. And it's not a being, so the boulders are not making the bramble less prickly. So to decide what I want to do, let's do my normal thing and use my roll. This will often show me, okay, so yellow is best to start out. So let's go ahead and I guess talk to Orovos about what she's doing first. We're going to get some more rain, dang it. So I only need to spend 2 for this test. I'm going to do that basic connection, talk to her. Flip it up. Hey, +1. It's 3, which is enough to clear her and find out what's going on. And once again, the yellow has nothing to do here, so it's just going to fatigue me from another rain, although the downpour is almost done for the moment, and we'll have a little respite from the clouds. All right, I don't love having too many side quests, but let's see what she has to say. I'm surprised you hadn't heard, Aura chuckles. You're a part of Solara's expedition, right? Well, my daughter Kesey and my husband Harlan have joined it too. Oh, God. You ask her why she didn't join her family, and she sighs. Honestly, I would have, but I can't stand caves. I once went into the Arcology's atrium and my skin got all clammy and I felt like I was choking. No, open sky is what I need, thank you. However, as long as Kesey and Arlen are down below, I'm going to take some time to try something I've been thinking about doing for a long time. You ask her what that is, and her eyes gleam. Well, I'm going to try to free climb the plummet. Oh, man, I don't want to go all the way to the plummet. Your face must have shown some surprise because she holds up her hand and laughs. Oh, don't worry. I don't want to slip and fall to my death. So I asked Dace to spot me using her shaper ability to manipulate the air. Actually, if you end up in Spire and you see Dace, can you tell her to hurry up? I don't want to spend days camping out there waiting for her. She thinks for a moment, then looks at you with sudden, serious eyes. Oh, and when you're down in the Arcology, can you keep an eye out for Kesey and Harlan? I swear my daughter grows more and more like him each day. There's always a chance one of them is going to get the other in trouble. Okay, so she just goes away. Looks like I would have to, go to... Well, when I get to Spire, I'll see if I meet Dace. She's another shaper like me. Actually, I did have a side quest with her in the original thing. It was pretty fun. But I get a free 1 per ranger progress on the location. Yay. All right, so no immediate side quest. I kind of like that. I can just remember what I needed to do. And I only need 3 on the location now. By the way, just to show you, there's the plummet. So yeah, if I went to Kobo's Market, then to Spire, got Dace... But I want to go to Greenbriar Knoll. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to do all of that. All right, so I could play my Gauze Blade just to get it out. Throngs of Life, by the way, is a spell. It uses my Scepter, and it basically lets me manipulate a test after it's happened to raise up the results. Oh, wait, did I remember? I think this is... Yeah, we've had 3 suns in a row, plus the other one got shuffled in. So I think that was the last downpour. I think I forgot to do the yellow for that. Or did I? Did I? No, one of those yellows was for the boulder check. Okay, I was about to say, I thought I already did it. But yeah, so I have this card that can let me use any modifier on a card, so I can make sure I succeed. Talus Perseverance is crazy. I get to add 3 to a trail. If it's a mountain or an obstacle, I get to add 5 instead for 1 red. So it's basically like an instant travel for some of the tougher locations. I don't really need it here. The Ranger's Badge lets me reuse my roll multiple times, although I don't have enough to pay for it yet. Light as a Feather gets rid of a lot of nasty people. Weapon, yeah, you get the basic idea. So here, I don't think I need Light as a Feather, so I'm going to discard this to get 2 compasses and spend both my red effort. That gets me to 4, which should be enough. Now I'm getting fatigued by the brambles because I'm traversing the location. So I just need to not get a -2. Oh, I got a +1. That's way too much. Yeah, so what was that? 4 + 1 is 5, so this becomes 6. 2 more than I needed. And gosh, it was another yellow. So, all right, the downpour is over, though I take another fatigue. And now it's on the Gathering Storm side. At the end of every round during the refresh phase, we're going to add 2 rain. And when there's 4, it's going to flip back over and start raining again. We can take an action to push that away, but it's a blue action. I'm not good at those, so I don't think it's going to happen. And all right, I think that's about it, because I can't afford to play any of the stuff I want to play. Okay, I could, yeah, you know what? What the hey? Let's try to pick some berries. What's going to happen? It's going to fatigue me for 1 if I fail. Whatever. And I did fail. Dang it. I could use that manifestation spell to make myself succeed, but that seems a little silly. So it does fatigue me for 1 since I failed. And red, the only red is Spirit Speaker Nulls. It says if there's an active predator and something happens, but since there is no active predator, there is no result from that card, which is important because my Scepter says after you perform a test in which no challenge effects were resolved, and even though there was a red, it didn't actually resolve, then I add 1 song, which is not only used to play my best cards, but I can also exhaust it to add progress to a being. So when I build up a bunch of these, I can instantly be friends with somebody or instantly send away a nasty, scary monster. Great Scepter. I've always enjoyed that as I've played the first campaign. But yeah, with that, we're going to stop again and get to traveling. And still follow my plan to go to Kobo's Market through the fields and grasslands, which is not my favorite terrain. There's some annoying cards hiding in there. So here we go, arriving at Kobo's Market where I can haggle for stuff. Let's go ahead and read the quick entry. If you have not completed the Kobo's Swap Meet mission, not completed, okay, so let's go read this. The sun peeks through the clouds as you walk down the path toward Kobo's Market, bathing the green in a soft golden light. The wide terrace of the marketplace is bustling with activity. You see folk from every corner of the valley chattering excitedly with one another. It appears as though Ken Robo's semi-annual swap meet is well underway. Amid the din, you can pick out elevated moments of some ferociously good-natured haggling. Yeah, it didn't do that. That's 100%ing the previous game. As you make your way to the terrace, you're greeted by a throng of friendly faces. Some want to give you a small token by way of thanking you for your service to the valley. Others are simply excited to see that a ranger has come to the swap meet, who just might have something particularly interesting to trade. Okay, complete the limited time offer mission and gain the Kobo's swap meet mission. I don't know how I would have even gotten the limited time offer mission. Search the valley set for Ren Kobo and put him into play. When you build the path deck, oh crud, I already did this. Instead of using 3 random cards from the valley set, do so using the other 3 humans from the valley set. Wow. So it's just nice people in there. Search the core game reward. Oh, for all copies that you haven't unlocked. Let's see. I didn't get the first 3, or the crown, or the sculpture, or the oh my gosh, or the honey. Gosh, there's a lot of stuff I didn't get. I didn't get the sketchbook. I didn't get any of the rest. Shuffle them together to make the Swappables deck and place it face down next to the path deck. This deck operates as its own independent deck and has its own discard pile for any Swappables that are discarded. Flip the top 3 cards of this deck face up and place them right next to the play area. These items are currently available in the swap meet. Oh man. So I can over and over again barter to move cards from my hand to the displaced cards, which means I can just add them back in when I can't, but permanently unlock these rewards? What the heck? I mean, I could just stay here for a while. This is a grab bag of, oh crud, you didn't do enough in the original campaign stuff. Well, let's see what the initial 3 cards are and how good they are. Because I don't want to stay here too long. I want to get the Spirit Speaker to her spot. Let's see our initial offerings. Artel's Vaulting Rod. I can use it. This is the requirement for your character. So if here's 1 fit so everyone could use it. But if I didn't have enough, then I couldn't. I remember I got this one in another campaign. Exhaust an obstacle is super good. They would let you get past some nasty things. 3 equipment? Gosh, that'd be all I could equip with my my staff. So I'm not loving that. What else we got? Dendritic Vine. Okay, 2. Oh, it's a 2 blue. I can't even use it. And Lynx Fur Coat. When you would suffer 1 or more fatigue from a path card, reduce the amount of fatigue suffered to 0. But again, it's 2 equipment. I might not go for any of this stuff, honestly, because I don't really want those. And my deck is really already pretty strong, so maybe I'll just skip the swap meet. All right, but I do still have to do the arrival stuff. Search the path deck for the next feature and put it into play. And it's Harvester Anthill. This is why the the fishing rod is good. It's an obstacle, and while it's sitting out here along the way, I can't interact with anything past it, so I can't put progress on the location, and I can't travel. Annoying. But all that was before the refresh step. A lot of stuff happening here. So let's get all this stuff back. Draw a card. Oh, it's another one of my reward cards. Oh, whoops, the Sunbury Bramble should be long gone. Sorry. All right, then what else am I getting? Oh my gosh, friggin' Blood-Beckoned Velox. So it's got Ambush, which means I immediately suffer this much fatigue too. Okay. Well, let's try to murder this guy, I think. I'll go and use a Gauze Blade for 1. Starts out with 4 attacks on it. I'm also going to exhaust my Sparrowhawk to deal 1 damage to a being in the same area. So that's already 2 of the 3. Oh, and let's use my roll to see what the top red is going to be for the attack. A 0. So I need 1 more. And it's a blue, which isn't going to do anything negative with any of the stuff in play. Oh, wait, but no, I would actually fail the attack because I need to get to at least a 2 because that's his presence value. Shoot. Well, let's put this in the bottom, I guess. Oh, and hold on, I didn't read Ren Kobo's entry. Let's see what he says. The man's familiar broad face has been weathered by years of strong wind, and his eyes are surrounded by a forest of wrinkles from a lifetime of squinting into the sun. He pulls his hand out of the pocket of his long coat and thrusts it forward. He speaks with the drawl of the Mississippian sea folk. Always good to see a ranger, he says. Perhaps he'd like to make a trade. Oh, shoot. I was supposed to have read 83.2 because I already completed limited time offer. Okay, so he just says, do you want to make a trade? And we're traveling in the same direction. He, by the way, also has Persistent, and he has a yellow effect that adds free progress to the location, so I never mind having him on a journey with me. He's pretty cool. And I would like to attack this guy this turn, so let's pay 2 yellow since I haven't used any yet. To play my Ranger badge, it's going to give me 3 uses, exhausting itself to unexhaust my roll. So let's go ahead and use one of them now. And let's look at a new challenge card. Still no +1. Still no negative stuff either, I guess. Well, here, you know what? I might as well use the +1 awareness and do a check with Riri. With all of my greens, that's going to give me a 3. And that lets me scout the top 3 cards of the path deck, but then I got to draw the top 1 after I'm done scouting. Okay, Morning Root is only helpful. Oh, it's one of the Moments in the Valley things. Oh, could open a sinkhole right away? All right, you know what? I'm going to keep all of these on top because none of them is bad, but I'll immediately get this floor, this root thing, because that doesn't hurt me at all. It has no presence to bother me. Oh, wait, no, because I just drew a blue, and after I'm finished doing the results of a test, including drawing this card, I'm going to resolve it. So look, we got the Artilope here. Let's put them out to distract this dude. Yeah, first, this blue doesn't trigger because it's not a hungry scroff to eat the anthill. I wish there was. This guy, we care if the Whispering Fields was in play, he would disappear. But here's the important one, the Artilope. If there's an active predator, the Velox exhausted and add damage to this equal to that being's presence. So he's not going to fatigue me anymore, and he has partially eaten the Artilope. All right, so with that guy gone, I guess I'll try to traverse the anthill. God, I need 6. It's such an annoying obstacle. So I'll do 1 red, and Talus Perseverance is so good. Now I'm not going to use anything else. That's what do we get? A 0. Now, its presence is currently 0. It changes as it takes more damage and more ants come out, so I don't think I technically failed and got injured, but I didn't accomplish anything. And there's another blue, but none of it applies because that guy's still exhausted, so he can't bite the antelope or artilope again. Which means that I get another token on my scepter. All right, yeah, sadly, I'm just going to rest for now, see what next turn brings. Oh, and that means that the Gathering Storm is coming out. I get, familiar, dang it, all these are only for trails. Both Talus Perseverance and Familiar Ground are great for traveling on the location, but they don't do anything about obstacles. Now I wish I had that fishing rod, but I can't even trade for it, or vaulting rod. I can't even trade for it while the obstacle is blocking me from going to the market. All right, and then here's the route we had put out. Yay! All right, let's see what we want to do with all this stuff going on. Okay, we got a blue on top, which would trigger the Artilope getting eaten by the Velox, and then wouldn't bother me for the rest of the turn. And it's a 0 for green and blue. So let's maybe scout for my first action for 2 with this. Or actually, no, I don't want to bring out more path cards. I know already that the one on top is not anything too nasty. So here, just to get that guy exhausted, I'll do a random connection test that then fails with the -1. But then the blue is going to exhaust this guy and kill the Artilope. Oh, and then the Hawk will exhaust to do 1 damage to him. So next turn we can just auto-defeat him. Right, but then with that, let's try to get rid of the anthill. This time spending both my red effort. Oh, and yeah, sure. Let's use the Ranger badge to see what the card on top is. And yes. Okay, this is good. I'll definitely keep that on top and go ahead and do my 2 tests. Added to 3. And blues don't trigger at all. So I get another token on my scepter. Nice. Well, that's about all I can do for now. So let's rest again. So I get, my Reclaimer Mucus. This is actually nice for taking out any path card. Although not really the anthill. Okay, and then here we go. We knew about this. The ground beneath your feet begins to move and shift. Okay, we got to draw a challenge card and see what it does. It's a blue. Move each feature along the way to within reach of a ranger, treating them as having ambush. Oh, weird. So the anthill wouldn't block other rangers anymore. Now it currently still has a presence of 0 because I haven't damaged it, which means that its ambush doesn't matter at all. And that was it. Much better than having some new monster come out. Oh, sorry, I didn't unexhaust everything, but here, let's have the Sparrowhawk hunt that guy. Bye. So what we got to do now is get rid of that dumb thing. Let's use my power to see what's on top of the deck. Ready that. It's a -1 and a red. The red doesn't matter, but now let's put the -1 on the bottom. Anyway, let's, discard Familiar Ground to add +1. So 3 effort. And yay, okay, so we did get rid of this thing. And then red, now there's no active predators. So that's just another token for my staff, so you can really build those up pretty quickly. All right, so then next round, assuming nothing else comes out, I should be able to get out of here. See, I'm just going to rest right away. There's not really much to do. Well, I guess, no, I don't want to scout because that'll just bring out more cards, and there's a good chance one of them will be nasty. Let's see if I'm right. Nope, it's another Artilope. That's fine. Okay, so let's exhaust my roll. Looking for more. Yay, another +1 red. That's awesome. And the Artilope's not going to do anything with red. It has to be hurt to lash out. Oh, but I still need to get to 4, so... All right, fine. I guess I'll use Talus Perseverance finally, so that will make my test a 5 with the +1. And I can leave this place. Like I told y'all, grasslands can be annoying. They're just harder to move through than you would think when it's just grass. Oh, sorry, the Artilope did fatigue me once. All right, so I'll stop there and travel on the route, and the Artilope go away. And I also complete the swap meet, so I gotta read this. Eventually, the sun dips behind the mountains, and everyone begins to pack their bags and prepares to leave. You say your farewells and receive many well wishes. Then, as long shadows stretch across the market lawn, you cinch up your cloak, sling your pack over your shoulder, and head out. Oh, wait a second. Every single time there was a blue, I should have discarded a random card for each active human, and then flipped an equal number of new cards from the Swappables deck? Oh, crap, that would have happened 15 times. And you know what? Hold on. Because I did have yellow at the end. So let's see. For each active human, there were 2 active humans. So this would have happened, I don't know, at least 2 or 3 times. I don't need the Umbral Claw because it's just the same as my Gauze Blade. I don't need the Vaulting Rod. So let's do this 2 more times. Transload. I don't have room. This is all gear. I guess it makes sense. That's all you could swap. Exhaust and move a being. Meh. When you perform a test, dodge each card in play. If you fail a test, suffer 1 injury. Meh. And let's try one more. Harvest Crown. I mean, no, I'm already good at... Yeah, no, okay. I don't want any of these. Yeah, knowing that they're all gear, I really feel like my gear is fine. That's not what I need more of. But okay, so that is done. We can never do that again. But since I was a leveled up character, it didn't matter as much. I'm sure if I had been a new player, that would have been very valuable. So we're leaving the market and going to Spire finally. Yay! Although don't forget, I'm going to try to get to Greenbriar Knoll and then go back to Spire. Although with my fatigue, my deck is pretty low. I think we're just going to get to Greenbriar Knoll and complete her quest and then stop. And this time we're going along lakeshore terrain, which I find usually not that nasty. Definitely easier than grassland. Let's refresh after traveling. We got a lot of friends traveling along with us now. With that, I finally get to Spire. Yay! Now, Spire is interesting in that it has its own separate deck that is like just the nice things. But I'm not going to draw from that. I'm going to draw from the regular path deck. But as a action, I can enter Spire, and then I'll only draw from the Spire deck for the rest of the time. So even if I'm like still messing with some animal or something, I can guarantee that I'm not going to have anything nasty happen. But yeah, for now, I just really want to travel quickly because my deck is so low. All right, so let's see what I get. Oh, it's her again. I don't need to talk to her right now, do I? No. Okay, but then we actually start my turn, and we get a Lutrinal Holt, which is a feature. Can be annoying. You can like call more Lutrinals, which are like little attacky guys. But if I just travel quickly enough, it won't matter. It's not an obstacle. But Spire does need a friggin' 4 progress to advance. Let's see what I can get. A 0. Ooh, but Ken Robo is going to add to the location on a yellow. Yeah, so we will use this, but we still need 1 more. I just drew an extra copy of Riri for +1 to traveling or traversing, whatever it is. So I'm going to do that with 2 red, +1 from the Hawk. So that's a 3. I do get fatigued by the rain. That part's not ideal. But then Ken Robo adds another 1 to the location. So there we go. Ready to travel in 1 turn. Love it. Although I'll still need to like figure out Nal's little problem with only like 6 cards left in my deck. And I'm about to draw 1. All right, so we're not doing anything else. Get the heck out of here. And we're going to go down to Greenbriar Knolls through the forest. Oh, wait a second. You know, I just realized. I was like, how did I get her? I shouldn't have shuffled any Valley cards into the path deck. So what else would I have gotten? Okay, fresh blue kelpweed has 0. Wait a second, what was the presence of the Lutrinal Holt? Oh shoot, I went past it. I have 2 more cards in fatigue, y'all. Maybe I won't be able to finish her quest. But either way, we're still out of the lake shore. All right, so we get to the knoll. Draw 1 challenge card. There's like the boulder. Oh, wait, first I got to read 24 because this should resolve the quest. The head-high grass makes it impossible to spot the knoll until the ground slopes upward and you begin to climb a gentle grade. As you finish your ascent, you find yourself on a hilltop. At the summit, you find a dais of time-worn and lichen-crusted stone with narrow threads of metal woven through it. You can see the dulled and pastinated threads from distinct patterns, the mark of the Estians. Okay, she is in play. Nal strides to the center of the knoll with a surety of purpose. She shakes a carbon-forged rattle and calls upon the 7 directions, the spirits of the elements, and the spirit of the valley. She kneels and traces her hands lightly over the chiseled threads in the stone. Then she places her hands lightly upon it, sits, and closes her eyes. You set aside your pack and sit quietly across from her. She speaks, her voice carrying an almost dreamlike quality. Interesting, she says. I can sense the presence from before, but it remains elusive. But there are others, 3 specifically. The spirits of Estians bound to their former lives, unable or unwilling to cross over. I see 3 of them, and all are in need of assistance, though they might resist. The sun moves steadily across the sky, and eventually Nal opens her eyes. There's nothing I can do for them from here, unfortunately, she says. I try, but there's still something standing between us. Something that doesn't appreciate me snooping around in the arcology. I'm unsure of what or who it could be. You hand her your canteen, and she smiles and thanks. You know, Nal says, if you happen across those spirits while you're exploring the arcology, you may be able to communicate with them, and if you feel up to it, you may even be able to help them come to terms with their deaths so they can finally be at peace. Then maybe they'll be willing to cross over. Okay, I gain Echoes of the Estian reward card. Cool. I discard Nal, return Helping Hand, and record Learned of the Loss on the campaign tracker. So if I see her again, that would like stop me from starting the quest again. Echoes of the Estian. See if I want it. It is a blue, so I can use that. Okay, attach to a path card. When a ranger performs a test that interacts with the attached card, commit to effort. The test can be performed without committing energy. Whoa! Whoa, that's really good. Like that would have made, that's basically like +2 free, like a bonus to a test against something per turn. Yeah, so this does not get added to my deck immediately, but whenever I rest after traveling, like a good rest, then I can swap out cards. So I'll have to decide if I have room for it, though. My deck is already kind of doing what I want it to do. All right, but now I got to see what happens here. I got a blue, so I'm just drawing 1 path card, no scouting. It's a Prowling Wolfhund. Does not have ambush, though, so maybe I can deal with it. Then I actually refresh. Ideally, I want to travel back to Spire. Although with only 3 cards left in my deck, that seems like it might be challenging. Because when you camp after traveling, like I said, you can add cards to your deck. It's just like kind of like the nicer way to finish a day. So let's see if I can do that real quick. So I want to maybe stab the Wolfhund. And, we got a +1 red on top with a red effect, which could be bad. I mean, if he's defeated, though, it won't matter. So I need to do more. Oh, never mind. I'm okay. So that's going to do 1 damage. And then I'll use one of my uses of the Gauze Blade to slice with the Fibrous Blade. So it's equal to my effort. So I'm doing 2 plus the 1 I'm drawing. So I'll do that much damage. And he's defeated before the red resolves. Oh, wait, what was the second? I didn't draw a new card, did I? Wait, what was the second path card? Oh, it's a Sitka Buck. Okay, well, that's going to fatigue me. Great. Okay, so red doesn't apply for any of these people. Oh, whoops. Scout 1 challenge card if it has a red icon. Troubling visions fill your mind, you suffer 2 fatigue. Yay, it doesn't. That's actually pretty good. Yeah, let's get rid of that Sitka Buck so it doesn't fatigue me, and then the blue won't do anything bad. Oh, wait a second. This had a crystal, so it's all getting shuffled in anyway, so I don't know that's on top. But still, this should be pretty easy. I'm going to go ahead and do a 3 test on them to connect with plus nothing. No blues apply, which gets me a token for this, and then I'm going to go ahead and tap this and spend 2 of those to add 2 more, and they're gone. Although sadly, I don't have any red effort left to actually scout the location and get out of here. All right, so let's go ahead and rest for the day and see if we can make it through. And, I got a card that gives me +2. So as long as I don't get like some super nasty path card, I should be able to travel back to Spire right before I run out of cards. So don't super nasty. Oh, nice! Ranger Cache is actually a nice card. It is still going to fatigue me 1 if I go past it, but it would have let me like get bonus cards and stuff. We're not going to do anything with that. We're just going to travel. Let's see what we got. A 0 should be fine, and a blue is not going to hurt me, so yeah. See, I'll use light as a feather, and 2, that gets me 4. That's enough to be ready to travel. I get fatigued 1, so I have a single card left in my deck, but I will be starting day 2 in Spire. Maybe I can track down that lady and tell her that what's her name wants to meet at the summit. Maybe I'll just go down to the archaeology and actually, play the game, do what I'm supposed to be doing. But yeah, didn't actually get to progress the main mission much, but that was a refresher on how Earthborne Ranger looks with the new expansion, adding some new stuff. So hope you enjoyed that. I don't know if I'll get to another one. It's always hard to fit in just extra plays of games like this to actually show what's in the archaeology and stuff. But yeah, thanks for watching, everybody. And a special thank you to our biggest Patreon supporters, J. William F., Pedro Lucas, Miles, Wayne Scott, Steve Wren, and Casey W. We'll see you at the next stop.